It's just part of how people are everywhere.
Yeah, the smaller the community, I find the more, apt they are to help each other. I mean, more apt they are to get in cliques too, but they're more apt to like see each other as more real people and see that if there's somebody in need, they would help them too. So
Yeah,
I know hiking, when I was hiking too, like everybody's in the same boat. You're basically out there in the wilderness. You have the same challenges crossing a river or, finding a place to camp, or if you don't have enough food or water, someone's apt to see that and not take advantage of you. They could, but, there's always that. But more or less, people are kind of along those lines. And then the European idea of money and all that and possessions and competition comes along, and then you got what we got today here.
Yeah, it's interesting that even one person that's accumulated a lot of the material money and stuff or something, and when they pass out of their physical bodies, sometimes some of them have decided to care for those that are what we call the unfortunates, or don't have houses, or they're not able to seemingly take care of themselves, so that they donate to the housing for the homeless and the food banks. And it is interesting how people think they do their business dealings and accumulate a lot of the supposed wealth, physical wealth, and then when it's time to leave the physical body, some of them do think about doing for those less fortunate, and they're able to make a big difference just because of the amount of accumulation of the physical wealth that they've got. If they decide to use it for the betterment of everyone else, when they no longer have any use for it.
I saw a Facebook photo. It was a hearse. Someone was dead, in a hearse driving along, and they had a U-Haul trailer. They're pulling the back of the hearse. The caption was, "Who says you can't take it with you?" I thought it's kind of funny. But yeah, think of the Pope and all the Vatican and all the wealth they have there. They could feed the world, and they could take care of everybody: housing, food, water. The people just don't see. They don't look at it that way. They just don't. It's like how you look at things, and they think it's normal in a way. It's been normalized. So accumulation and wealth gathering, and these people that are so wealthy, they don't know what to do with their money, except get into distortions. It's normal. So here we are.
I don't know how it looks around the world, how it works, but here, let's say in Serbia, and I guess in the surrounding countries from the ex-Yugoslavia, so when children are kind of very sick from some rare disease or something, because social services, health insurance does not pay for such treatments, so people are publicly basically asked to send mobile messages, and then that kind of money goes to the purposes of those children who can then be sent to abroad where there's special hospitals are for their health issues. But so we sent like 100 dinars message, and then why I'm talking about this, the mobile companies take like half of that money for their service. So if I send 100 dinars for the child, then the mobile company, the provider, took 50% of it to themselves. So it's really a shame. I don't know how does it work around the world. Thank you.
Yeah, I think it's standard. They get their cut, and it's a lot of times it's a big cut, like 90%. I've heard. But just people living naturally, like the indigenous people, they take care of each other, and then people get funny, and they get these secret societies. They get form secret meetings, and basically you don't need to do that. They just do that in order to play around, with controlling people, manipulating people. They want to do something funny, but if people were just straight with each other, like the animals, all this secret society stuff wouldn't even be, around. And then the monarchs coming in, and then the kings and the military all control. I mean, that's where it comes from, all this. But we're talking about the self-sufficient communities. Everybody just came in. So I just read something from Luther Standing Bear, how they had no locks on their teepees, and there's no poverty. If someone needed a blanket, they get a blanket. So that's like a step. Animals kind of aren't going to do that, but necessarily, but humans have that. They can see, if someone's in need, they're going to help them out. But the way it's set up now, the systems and the standardized way things are looked, it's every man for himself. So there's a lot to get through.
I've been looking at the possibilities of the primary water as being one of the necessities of self-sustaining communities. I see it like Egypt or something. Without the water, there was no civilization. And so the primary water seems to be one of the most important physical things for the self-sustaining communities. And the skies where I've been going out in the hills are having the great big government planes flying the most they've ever flown. So a lot of activity going on, whether it's moving people from Afghanistan or moving materials to somewhere, whatever's going on. I've just definitely noticed the activity is plentiful. They're really moving a lot of big planes. It seems to be the north-south route. I think they go over the top of over the North Pole, the other side of the earth, or wherever they're taking stuff, or hauling stuff. But it's interesting. Things are going on, all right.
Yeah, come on to the environmental show. Anybody is invited. That's 10 o'clock on Thursday, Pacific Standard Time, to share what you have. If you've got anything in the news you'd like to share. Plus, we have the World Forest Report on Tuesdays. We moved that to 3 p.m. Pacific Time because Jeremy's working and that's a good time for him. But that's Tuesdays at 3 Pacific Time, the World Forest Report. Report on what's going on in your area or anywhere else you'd like to report on with the fires or with the reforestation projects that people are doing all over the world. Yeah, Tim, come on to one or both of those because we'd like to hear from you what's going on in your area, especially with the fires there in Oregon too, Eastern Oregon, isn't it?
Coronavirus thing is being a big deal again here in Southwest Oregon. They say that it's that new strain, Josephine County here where I live and Jackson County next door having the most ever. The hospitals are full, and so it is interesting things going on right now that we're experiencing. They've made us practically have to wear masks outside too if there's any other people around. So you can't even go outside without wearing a mask. It's almost a cartoon. Everybody put on your mask and and you'll be okay.
Well, for an adventure, you can go to the hospital there near you and see what's really going on. Because we had this YouTube clip of this lady who had to go in for her husband who had pneumonia, and they sent her to ICU, and they pretty much sent everybody to ICU, and no matter what they had, and they claim, well, they're all COVID patients, and it's full, you know, even though he didn't have to go there, he got sent there, and it gives a good viewpoint of how the process works. They have a protocol that the CDC has for the hospitals and the doctors to follow, and it's basically to kill people, but all the hospitals, in order to get money, they follow this protocol, and if you're don't have COVID, which they can't even prove, they send you to ICU, and that's how they claim that hospitals are full, you know. So it'd be interesting to go see really what's going on there. But be careful that they don't admit you, and then they'll keep you there as prisoner, basically, if you claim you got something.
They put a new big tent-like thing outside of the hospital building. I see it's because supposedly there's not enough intensive care unit beds for all the it's like out of the 30,000 people in the city, 100 and some are close to 200 a day supposedly are having this disease. Sounds like it. Some people can't hardly breathe. That's why they say they have to put them on those oxygen machines. And well, right now, what the TV shows the world, and it's that coronavirus stuff and the Afghanistan stuff, and then all these hurricane stuff or flooding and the earthquakes again, like Haiti on Earth. And it just seems like the whole place, you never know when all of a sudden the Earth's going to decide to just bust up the surface and do a big change.
Israel and Australia complaining that the hospitals are filling up with the people who had the vaccinations. So that's probably your new strain.
The fires have been smoking up the valley some days here, and they're all around us, north and south and east. It just seems like how much of the surface is going to be left that is not burned up. All the forests, big areas each summer, it seems like really get burned up, and multiple times now. It's not just one time. It comes through when things regrow and starts again and then burns it up again. Quite an experience to be on the surface of the earth.
Is there anything going on there in Oregon with reforestation? Any kind of projects that private groups or nonprofits are doing? Or
Yeah, there's certain once a year things that the city of Grants Pass like does about their planting trees. They get the school kids all to plant an area. But as far as the giant burned up areas now around here, they've almost give up on the reforestation, sending them out to replant again because it's so big, and then they want them to be thinning the brush and to prevent fires, but it makes such a big effect on the habitat. It's all different after they do that, supposedly to prevent the fires. Yeah, so who knows? Be thankful that there's some of the forests that still are producing oxygen and letting us get to be out there in them for other benefits I think we get from just being able to be in the forest.
Yeah, thanks, Tim. Thank you.